fights with passion, and he inspires.
Are you ready for a war?
All right, I got the wolf with me. It's late, as always. You're always coming on about midnight, James, and you burn the midnight oil. But I wanted you to come on. I'm sick. It's late for you. You just got off of Bill Kriebel's podcast. I was going to cancel, but I told everybody that you was going to come on, so I got you on. I got you on. What I wanted to talk about, and it's probably not going to be 20 minutes, but we're in collective bargaining. Y'all are locked down. I want you to go over what that means, what that process is when you talk about, we're on lockdown for collective bargaining, the committees, the different groups, who we meet with, who we talk with, what goes on when we're talking about locking down at a hotel. What does that even mean?
Well,
And
first of
so,
all, yeah.
go ahead.
No, so first of all, good evening to everybody and to you, man. Shout out to you and the entire listening group and my NLC brothers and sisters. As always, man, it's good to be on here with you, my man.
Yeah, I could have you on every day, brother. People always tell me that I need to get you on more, and I was like, my man, he don't sleep. When is he going? When is he going to come on? I was on about 90 minutes of sleep, and I'm trying to keep my man awake at midnight to talk to my people. But no, brother, you always welcome on here, and I'm sure you'll start coming on more and more as we get closer to nominations. But where do y'all stay? Where is lockdown? Can you even tell us? Or is that a secret?
Well, I don't think it's no secret. We over here at the in Washington, D.C. at the La Meridian Hotel. And lockdown basically consists of um, the last week prior to the expiration of the collective bargaining agreement that both parties, the USPS and the NLC, is committed to trying to come to some type of tentative agreement. That's the aim and the goal. And it's designed to make sure that all parties are available should an agreement be in sight. And so we are at the hotel for a week, 24 hours a day. At any given time, discussions can be had and regarding the wages and also regarding the work rules. And theoretically, the parties would assemble, meaning independently, and come up with discussions saying, hey, is this something that we are willing to agree to and present to the membership uh, and be available to do that. And so at this particular point in time, this is at the onset of lockdown. We started yesterday on Monday, here discussions today, and this will go on through the expiration of the collective bargaining agreement in its current form through Friday.
Friday this week.
Yes, and so that includes the entire NLC executive board, the assistant postmaster general, which is Doug Toledo on the Postal Service side, and a host of labor relations individuals that are working on their side, and proposals and counter proposals are being discussed and sent back and forth. Uh, Brian Renfro, the president, is the one that's primarily handling or from what I can gather, solely handling the economic package, and Paul Barnard, executive vice president, is in overseeing the work rules issues.
So who's in there with Brian? For us.
Brian, look, I don't know. So really, I don't, and he hasn't indicated. I know it's none of us.
Yeah.
To that extent, and so he's the spokesperson, the chief spokesperson for the collective bargaining agreement, and so he's
God
dealing
help
with
us.
that, doing that in the economic. And as I indicated, then Paul is overseeing the work rule issues, and un, unfortunately, I don't have any. Uh, I don't have any part to play with regards to either or in terms of being a shot caller. Those are the two that are making the calls, but ultimately Brian makes the final call as to what is what is done and who
Yeah.
does it.
So you got Brian, he's handling the financial side of it. And then which was a complete disaster the last time. So that gives me no comfort whatsoever, knowing that he's in there again. And then you got Barner handling the other side of it. And so the executive council, resident officers, what do they do during this period of time?
The resident officers primarily, for the most part, are overseeing subcommittees, which consist of both MBAs and uh, staff members
Yeah.
that are at the NELC headquarters, which would consist of, the different articles throughout the uh, collective bargaining agreement, such as Article 15, Article 8, 41, all the different things, 17, 31. Every article that's in the collective bargaining agreement is broken down and meted out to each subcommittee, and a group of those officers and or staff members and MBAs will discuss them and with the Postal Service and come up with um, basically tentative agreements or agree to disagree to be presented uh, to for final ratification.
Okay. So 1 through 41 is covered. We have subcommittees for all those things.
Yes.
All right. And so business agents, staffers, they will separate into small groups and they decide which one they're going to take.
No, no. Uh, Generally speaking, like I said, the resident officers, it could have a couple of resident officers on each subcommittee, but generally most subcommittees are given multiple articles to go over and discuss, and those articles are assigned to that particular group by Paul Barner. So the subcommittee is assembled and assigned as a group by Paul Barner, and the articles that they're responsible for is assigned by him as well.
So when you have, let's say, Article 8, we go in there, what is it we're trying to accomplish on our side as it pertains to Article 8?
Well,
Just a random article.
yeah, well, I mean, there is nothing specific at this specific moment. I know it's kind of anticlimactic, but there's nothing that I can speak on specifically that they are attempting to uh, achieve. I'm sure that there is something because they're having discussions with the Postal Service each day. But again, like I said, I'm not playing any role in a particular, especially on the Article 8 subcommittee, which would be with additional articles, but I'm not assigned to either one of the subcommittees. So the discussions that are being held, I'm not privy to, and whatever is being discussed, there is being held in in the discussion on a wide scale is being held in advance until agreements and so on are reached.
Yeah. So if we wanted to make a change to Article 8, whatever it is. We would go in, we would meet with our counterpart from labor, and we would discuss it. They could either adopt it or not. If not,
Right.
then it goes forward. And so that happens with every single article, 1 through 41.
Yes, exactly. Whatever proposals that we may have, and those proposals could, comprise proposals that's come in from the field, came in um, from prior convention resolutions that are being recycled, or proposals that are being written up as we speak, or proposals coming from the Postal Service that we would counter with or say, hey, this sounds good, and whatever, then they would sign off or initial off on whatever, if they agree on a particular proposal for a particular article, or they would say we disagree.
So if they agree, does it have to get a final agreement from Renfro and Tolino?
Yes.
So they can say, yes, we agree with this. You can send it to Renfro and Tolino, and they can say, we don't agree with that.
Yes.
One of them on each side could say it. Like Renfro can say, I don't agree with what y'all came up with.
Right. So yeah, so the subcommittees come up with whatever it is they come up, but if it is like it was the last time, whatever was agreed to was not final until the main table agreed to it.
Yeah. But I don't trust that son of a bitch to do nothing anyway. I mean, we didn't agree with it. We shot the TA down with about 72%, and we ended up with the same damn thing we shot down. So I don't trust him for nothing. And he's not shown me that he's learned the first damn thing. Um, you know, this survey, I, I know you can't talk about it, whatever, but this survey that came out, and I said this before, I said this on an earlier episode of mine, was just bizarre that it came out and we're already in collective bargaining. Here you are locked down. What is the purpose? Do you know?
Man, no, I don't. You want to know the truth of the matter? And I know that's a little disappointing and like I said, anticlimactic, because I am the national vice president, but ultimately, as was so aptly stated to me, the national president has the authority to supervise. So he ultimately makes the decisions as to who and what is done by whom. And so I don't have any interactions or with any of that.
I'll tell you, I think it would be catastrophic to do 4 10-hour days. I'll tell you that.
And that's
I
based,
think, go ahead.
no, is that what you said? Because you received were you one of the ones that received a survey in the mail?
No, I
Or
didn't
is
get
it,
one,
you didn't get one? Okay. But
but,
I know
but
it's been a huge topic on
yeah,
on online and from what
yeah,
I'm being told and whatever. But as of right now, like I said, hey, until I since I don't have any direct interaction with any of those things, it would be it would be I would say maybe at very minimum uh, deficient for me to speak on it, because
yeah.
I couldn't speak with it about any authority with it or any firsthand knowledge. It would all just be speculation.
Well, Charlie and I talked about, I may have Charlie on before too long. Him and I talked about it. I think it'd be catastrophic, James. I think it'd be catastrophic to my craft to have 4 10-hour days. I think it's the most foolish idea I've ever seen, heard of. Um, me working 10 hours at straight time, um, you, you know, there's so many potential downfalls to that. I know you can't talk about it. You don't know about it, but I'm going to have Charlie on. We'll talk about it. Just the catastrophic effect of that. And for that to be sent out to us, to the fact that it was sent shows you how incompetent this clown is at the top. that he would allow some survey that could be catastrophic to my craft as far as the sheer loss of our brothers and sisters, the loss of numbers to this craft, that a president of this craft would send that out. Would y'all consider this? The fact that I'm looking at that from the president of my union,
Yeah.
James, I think is catastrophically stupid.
But like I said, I haven't seen the survey myself personally. Um, I do know, as you indicated, some people were inquiring, is it real? And I mean, to the extent that, in my knowledge, that it was a real survey. So, I'm sure there's more to come. And so, what's that old saying? Meanwhile, back in Gotham.
Yeah. But James, and this is the argument I saw back when the 5 day delivery was a big topic.
Yeah,
And people were like, I would like 5 days. I would love to have Saturday off. And the union's only wanting that because it's more dues they can pay. The union's job is to protect jobs.
right.
That's our job. The union's job is to protect our brothers and sisters from losing their position. That's the reason why we fight for it. That's our job.
Yeah.
It's not to come into some kind of agreement that will catastrophically reduce the number of employees. That's not what the union's for. The union is to fight that. That would sound like something that Toledo would come up with. Hey, look, we're going to go to 4 10-day delivery, and then we raise hell about it. Not from
Well,
our own president, James.
hey, well, and Till, all of that is fettered out. Yes, we'll see, because we just really uh, don't know as of yet. Like I told you,
Yeah.
I'm not part of any of it, and I'm not trying to skirt responsibility. I'm just making a
No, I
statement of
got you.
fact.
I mean,
I'm just making a statement of fact.
yeah, I don't want you to comment on some, that you're not dealt with, but to me, I'm just saying, I could go on an hour about that, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
When I
yeah.
saw that, um, I thought Paul did a good job of breaking it down too, but
Right.
uh, yeah.
Yeah,
But
and I
anyway,
and I know he had it on there, even before here. And if I was not currently in lockdown, perhaps I would offer an opinion, but I don't want to
no,
uh,
I got you.
alter
But
any potential
I'm
anything.
I'm not on lockdown, so I can give my opinion on it.
Yeah,
I, I tell you, man, James, um, we're in trouble with this cat, brother. I know that's why you're running, but we're in trouble with this cat. I've never seen anybody do so much to the detriment of my people than this clown we have right now. And if you see him around the hallways, you can tell him I said that.
well, I'll be sitting right next to him until tomorrow,
Well,
and
pass him a note.
get a post-it.
Yeah. Hey, I was talking to Corey yesterday. You want me to tell you this? But
Yeah, and the thing is, man, is that ultimately this is the beauty of our union. Even with all its ills, and even with people's um, concerns or expressions of accountability and transparency, for the most part, that the average job, that is not necessarily union, not obviously not a union job, but the average job doesn't have areas of redress, doesn't have a democracy like we have with regards to being able to express dissent and express um, disappointment or disagreement with whatever is going on. And so we're at a stage in uh, the current atmosphere of the NELC that we would be able to express, our feelings and disagreements, whatever, come this fall. And I highly suggest that everybody, if you care about anything regarding your job, whether it is for whomever that uh, you have to be involved and be engaged. Now, clearly, we are certainly expecting and asking everyone to support the CLC wholeheartedly. You know,
Yeah.
as you indicated, I'm running for national president. And this has not been, as you so aptly stated, and as we go around and preaching to the masses as we visit every nook and cranny of this country, that this is not about me. This is about we. This is
Yeah.
not about Corey. This is about we. This is not about the CLC. This is about we. We are just the vehicle in trying to usher in that manifestation. We're
Yeah.
just the ones that are being the bullhorns on it in regards to a group of individuals that says that we are aligned with this purpose of reforming this union and ensuring that our athletic carriers receive a living wage, a living wage. And people say, it's you say that, then we get mocked. When we say
Yeah.
that we want to get paid what our labor is worth, we get mocked. They say, well, what does
Mm.
that mean? Well, here's the reality of it is, because that's nothing but gamesmanship when people start doing that nonsense. Because why would you have those that say, well, we should have a $30 an hour starting wage. Yes, $30 or even more. Why would so if somebody says you want $30 an hour, I'm giving you $30 an hour. Why would we just settle on $30 an hour if we can get $31, 32, or even
Yeah.
40?
Yeah.
That so when we say that we want a living wage, first and foremost and above all, the baseline is that we got to make sure that our individuals are getting enough wages that's within their base pay to make sure that they can put a roof over their head, food on the table, and clothes on their back. Right? So if $30 an hour don't do that, then that's insufficient.
Yeah.
you know and but even more, then you level it up from there about what is our labor worth, as you and I go around the country often explaining about how those that's only a small segment of our crowd that get full colas. Why aren't the letter carriers getting full colas when there are other crafts within the same employer, within the same agency that receive full colas and we do not, right? And and it is undisputed and have been codified by an arbitrator that finds that letter carriers work harder and deserve higher pay,
Yeah.
notwithstanding the law about us having comparable wages to those that are in the same industry. Well, all of those things seemingly that we're deficient right now. And as I stated earlier on 613 with Bill Kriebel, if you guys have not heard it, take a listen to it as well. He's on the CLC slate, and is I think is an outstanding individual and will be an outstanding NBA for Region 12. Nevertheless, we have to ensure that we understand what is most important to us. As I stated there, is that come this fall, Corey, the craft is going to enter into a relationship with somebody. And you got to ask yourself is what is most important? Is it more important for you to have, when you go buy a car, to have one with paint own a car that have no scratches and shiny, or a functional, reliable engine? Are you and meat on the tires? Is it more important to you that when you choose a mate in this life, to have someone that you think is great looking, and does that supersede someone that truly loves you and have a heart and supports you and that you can trust? So you have to reassess your values and see what is most important. So in this instance, what is most important to us as letter carriers? Do we want someone that tickles our ear, sounds eloquent in and of itself? Or do we want somebody that we know is going to fight for us? Do we want somebody that we know is empathetic to our plight as letter carriers of having deficient wages and not having our careers placed in jeopardy, as you was alluding to earlier? Are we in a situation, do we want to enter into a relationship with somebody that we know is going to exercise sound judgment on our behalf? Do we want to exercise not only sound judgment, that we want to know that we believe that this person is trustworthy, that they're going to act on our behalf of each time that they are tasked or required to do so? The things that are important to you, the things that are lasting, and the things that are enduring, that will ensure that the letter carrier craft is here today and forevermore, and that those that are on hire to date right now can get to retirement date and not do so on their hands and knees by and not do so by having to fill out a a a workers' compensation claim because they stressed out because of the toxic work environment. But above all, what lends itself to a happier workforce is one knowing that they have security, but security in the form of a living wage, making sure that we have full quotas, making sure that we have a career workforce for stability, making sure that we have affordable health care, making sure that we have a shorter path from shorter time from higher dates, lower steps to the top step. You know, looking out for those that were non-career individuals before and trying to get that time credited back to them. All these things that matters the most. This is the kind of relationship that you're asking for. And folks are going to say to you, Corey, well, how is it that you are going to be promising that you're going to get all that? And as we often state all the time, we're not promising you that every single thing that we are endeavoring to do, that we will achieve it or achieve it in one fell swoop. But what we are promising you is that we will fight for it and that we will make sure that that is a top priority, because letter carriers are our top priority.
Yeah.
Your plight is our top priority. This is about a collective effort. This is about we. And what do I often say when we're talking with our slate? Our superpower is one another. And
Yeah.
I indicated here, brother, you know, this lockdown that we're on is is symptomatic of of just steep tradition of this is what we do. All right. Now, ideally, you would think that, okay, we have a rapport and a relationship over the course and in between one ending of one collective bargaining agreement to the next, that we would be able to say, hey, in the best interest of the Postal Service, you know what your letter carriers are worth. You know that retaining them is important. Having a professional work force is important. That ideally, that Postal Service says, all right, let's see what we can come up with that meets both our ends. But the reality of it is it's not the case. Everyone is trying to get what is in their best interest in more than likely, but we have to maintain a uh, a positive attitude and be hopeful that at some point in time, preferably now, but if not in the future, that the CLC, Concerned Letter Carriers slate, that when we take power, meaning in a good way, meaning be in a position to be able to act on behalf of the letter carriers, that we are able to uh, fight and obtain those things that matter most in letter carriers. And by leading by example with integrity and leading by example with credibility, and credibility comes by being consistent in what you're doing and what they can count on. What do I often say, Corey? The best ability is what?
Dependability.
Dependability. They be consistent, then they can depend on us to fight for higher wages, full colas, affordable health care, all career workforce, shorter time from uh, bottom step to top step. All of those things here would definitely be in focal focus for us.
Yeah. Well, you have to know, excuse me, you have to know and that the city letter carrier, when they put that trust in us, we're going to win. That when we say these things are imperative, you talk about doing away with the CCA craft, that position. Um, that to me, that's a no-brainer that you do that. And we've already conceded that. You see, when the surveys came out about the CCA, and to me, you're showing complete disrespect for your craft when you know that those things are one of the hot topics of the last TA that you shoved through on us about the all career workforce. You don't even give it a shot. You've already conceded that. That was one
Yeah.
of the things where everybody's going crazy because you said, it's an all career workforce or non starter. And then you immediately came back and said, well, if we do keep a contingent of CCAs, well, fuck, what happened? You already started backing up. And then you're saying if we do keep a contingent of, not you, but Renfro,
I know what you
uh,
mean.
they're going to have a substantial starting wage. And you fucked that up. And so the carrier has to know that there's somebody in position when you're talking about integrity. You're the only one that's got any, brother. Trust me, that's running. You're the only one that's got a shred of it. But they have to know when James Henry says this, look, when we go in there, these are the positions that we're going to hold true on. It's going to be an all career workforce, so we're going to arbitration. Uh, our starting wages have got to be substantial, or we're going to arbitration. They can claim broke all they want, but these are things that are imperative, that are musts, that are priorities. The craft has to know that when you say it, you mean it, and that you're going to do it. And that's what we're starving for because we don't have it. We have somebody who's going to tell us whatever we want to hear and then completely fuck us over, just like you did for 700 days. I love it when we go place and you talk about, I'm not going to spend 700 days trying to convince you on why they can't pay you more.
Right.
That's already started, they're broke, just don't expect much. Well, motherfucker, I don't expect much as long as you're in there by yourself with Tolino. Trust me, I don't expect much. I've learned my lesson. I only got to get kicked in my ass once by somebody before I understand this motherfucker will kick me in my ass. But that's Renfro. I get it. I learned my lesson the first time. I don't expect much, but that's what we're bringing to the table. If we tell you something, we mean it.
Absolutely. And you can never,
It's
ever
that
have a
simple.
defeatist attitude. No,
Yeah,
it's
it's that
that
simple.
simple. Your credibility is your currency in this job, man. And like I
Yeah,
said, you acquire credibility by doing what you say, saying what you mean, and meaning what you say, and following up and following through, you know. And people know when you for real and when you are sincere about what you say. You can't, you can only fool people so long.
yeah,
And the reality of it is, my brother, is that we're in this fight. We've been doing this here. Here's the thing, and that's what offends me above all is, you know, you and I and everyone on the CLC slate, we didn't have to subject ourselves to all the scrutiny and the uh, criticism and vitriol that we endure on a daily basis, virtually all of us, some of us more than others. But when you have someone like myself or you and others on our slate that have devoted decades, decades of service to this union and to our fellow brothers and sisters in our letter carrier craft. And for that to be called into question because of some um, political um, reasons is really disheartening. And it's in fact insulting because it's not what people say, it's what they do. And like I said here, my record speaks for itself. Your record speaks for itself. You know, they find, small things in reality, in the scheme of things, they're small, but they try and make them large just to try and diminish us. And as you often heard me say that, you know, you don't have to try and dim my light to make yours shine brighter. I
Yeah.
have, I've been on this on the national residence, what, for 3.5 years,
Yeah.
and a year off into my tenure, I stood up and says that I'm going to make a change, not for no other reason than because change needed to be done. And then you have those and you have people out there that truly don't understand what, when they talk about the establishment and talk about, the resident officers. I'm not the number two person. At least the letterhead says I'm the number three, but in practice, that hasn't been the case. But nevertheless, I'm willing and always been able to do whatever I can in the service to our brothers and sisters. And there are some that have been that's running, you know, for the presidency, that's been on the executive board, for over 10 years prior to me coming.
Yeah.
And there was nothing that was of urgency. Things that was going on then are some of the same things that's going on now, you
Yeah.
know. And so they say, well, what is James doing? He said, well, and why was he quiet when there was the TA go? Well, if you go on this concernedlettercarriers.com, you'll see a picture with me with a sign say vote no on the TA standing out in front of the NLC headquarters. Standing in front of NLC headquarters with a sign that says no. With some of my superiors looking down upon me. I'm about it. And as I said on when I said on 613, brother, I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. That's what the deal is. I'm true to this. I ain't new to this. I'm true to this. I've been doing this for a long time. I understand that what comes with the territory, you do, and all that, and what keeps us going. The fuel in our tank is the end result of being able to make a difference for somebody, or
Yeah.
meaning, and that's somebody of our letter carriers. And that difference that we're seeking to make right now are primarily two different things. Even though they try and talk about the legislative stuff, that has its place as well. But first and foremost on the table is making sure that our letter carriers craft, as you like to state and characterize, light blue, is giving a living wage and wages that are befitting and commensurate with their labor, and making sure that a toxic work environment is done away with.
Yeah.
That carriers can come to work and feel proud and happy to do so. So everything that you've done, brother. I mean, you often talk about me. I personally, and I don't think I've said it enough, I personally am honored to run with you, grateful for you, brother. And, people like to try and clown about, hey, Corey has a vulgar mouth and all this other stuff. Well, as I say, every rose has thorns. And if that's what it is that you are relying upon, then then they don't understand you and don't understand what we are about, because what you and I are about and the CLC is about is really truly about conviction, about believing in what it is that we say is important, and that's the letter carriers, and trying to make a difference and making sure that we all are 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 taken care of, and especially the letter carriers. Can I emphasize enough to you about how It's important that our people are not in in, in the poverty line.
Yeah. Well, they try to keep us in the soup line, brother. But like you said, our record does speak for itself. I don't consider anything anybody says about us online because most of the time it's that vocal minority. I'm talking about real minority, vocal minority
Yeah.
on it that will chastise you or me, and they've never filed a grievance. They've never sat in a chair with an individual with the OIG. Postal inspectors have never been in that room in arbitration, that last line of defense. Haven't been through half the shit that you and I have been through, and they want to call themselves heckling us. I always talk about the man in the arena. I don't look up in the stands and I don't look up in the stands and see who's heckling me, brother. I'm out on the field getting it. And so I'm not going to stop doing what I do so I can look up and see somebody up there, with their hands cupped over their mouth, hollering at us. Like you said, we're about that business. And so I don't consider that. But
No, we're not, man. And fortunately, the one good thing about letter carriers is that we are a very smart group of individuals, and
oh, yeah.
they can wade through the minutia. And
Yeah.
so we're going to make a difference, my brother. And like I said, you keep your head up, you keep doing what you're doing. I want you to know I got your back like vertebrae, brother, just like you and I have the back of letter carriers like vertebrae. And this is going to be our mission, as long as we have breath in our body to do so, represent these letter carriers, because this is much more important or higher than just you and I as a calling. Because I tell you, common sense tells us, hey, you don't have to do this. You can just keep your head down and go work, take care of yourself. But that's not who we are. We are people of
No.
service. We're in service to one another. And I
Yeah.
believe that. And this is why my most recent article that I wrote, and I want you to read it in the Postal Record. It's entitled Unity. It's coming in the June paper, and it talks about, and you've heard me say here, is that you know he's not heavy, he's my brother, meaning that we should always be there for one another and not abandon one another, and understand that what we do is a labor of love, even if it's burdensome. It's a labor of love because we genuinely care and will always, no matter what the cost, take care of one another.
Yeah. Brother, we just getting started, my man.
Absolutely, my brother.
We're just getting started. Hey, man, go to sleep.
I'm gonna
James,
try.
it's midnight there.
Don't remind me, but that's okay, man. I'll get enough rest to do what I need to do. Hey,
Mhm.
let's remind people of this here. I don't know if you have
Mhm.
done so. Or have you reminded the folks that this coming weekend, Sunday, that you and I and Rob Cozer are going to be out in
Yep.
Milwaukee, Branch Two. You talked about that already?
Talked about it yesterday. You can throw it out there if you
Outstanding.
want to.
Well, look at tonight. Those of you that have not heard, if you haven't listened to the most recent podcast, please come out to uh, the Branch Two over to the Milwaukee Brewers and Dodger game on this coming Sunday day. Branch Two is having a tailgate, and we're looking to have a good time, and myself and Corey and Rob will be there to talk to Letter Carriers Fellowship with them and answer any questions like we always do. And let's just dispel that myth as of right now when people get to talking that yin yang about hey, everybody deserves to know what our we say what our platform is all the time. It's on concernedlettercarriers.com. Go on there and endorse, like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter, X, TikTok, YouTube, all of it. But the most important thing is that we are, uh, like I said, we're just getting started. So everybody, please, and then don't forget to donate if you can. If you believe in our movement and you believe in getting some real reform with our union and having trust worthy and reliable leadership, the CLC is the way to go. So
Yeah,
please uh, donate to our cause. You can go on concernedlettercarriers.com and donate there as well.
my brother. That sounds good to me, my man.
All right, my man.
I'll see you Saturday.
Okay. All right. Yes, absolutely. Saturday evening.
You're going
Absolutely.
up Saturday, right?
Yeah, Saturday evening I'll be there.
Okay.
We're gonna have to catch up some dinner, man.
Let's do it. Let's eat before 11 o'clock though. These
Absolutely.
these late night dinners are killing me. I'm supposed to be intermittent fasting, and every time we get out of a meeting, it's like 11:30, and we're eating at Waffle House.
I know, man. Hey,
That
and it's a
that's
shame.
killing me.
Hey, well, we done stayed up past Waffle House hours. Remember we went to
Yeah,
the Waffle House was closed.
yeah,
Two of them.
yeah. And we go to one, go up there. It's closed. I'm like, what time is it? How's Waffle House closed? Go up to another. They're only doing drive up service. They're not. You can't go in. You had to call. I was like, what the hell is going on around here?
Oh man. I know
And but
we've
yeah,
had some doozies.
I'm eating. I'm eating a what is it? Garbage plate or
Yes.
whatever at like midnight. I'm like, what the hell am I doing?
No, they say we're gonna take everything that we have left from the day and just put it on one plate. And that's what they call it. It was a garbage plate.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
well.
that don't sit well. But all right, my brother, you be blessed, and
All
everybody
right.
listening, you guys have a blessed day.
All right, James. I'll let you,
All
my
right,
brother.
all right, my brother.
Thanks, man. See you, bud.
Yeah,
Bye.
yeah.